Hey, welcome to Graphic Policy Television GPTV. I'm Brett. We've got a new unboxing. This one is the DC Icon set for Super Sons. DC Collectibles hooked us up with this for free. We always like to be completely transparent as to how do we get things so you can make a decision as to how much you can weight our opinions. Now, this is a set I saw at San Diego Comic-Con 2016. Ever since then, it's pretty much been at the top of my list of figures that I've wanted to get. Been super excited for this. I'm absolutely, beyond ecstatic that I get a chance to open this up and play around with these figures. For those who don't know, Super Sons is the son of Superman and Batman. This is Jonathan Kent and Damian Wayne, who team up together in their own little superhero group. Damian is the hot-headed little shit of a, pampered kid, and then Jonathan Kent is beyond altruistic and rather, we'll call him innocent, is the best way of putting it. So those two together are basically fire and ice, and really, really entertaining because of that. The series is top-notch. If you don't read the comic series, it's one I highly recommend you should check out. So let's open this up. We're going to show off what's inside. Now, we can see right away with DC Collectibles, we're getting a bunch of alternative hands, which is about what we can expect at a minimum with these figures. Damian's got his bow staff. I believe that's probably a stand to put them on or stand them up on, and a bunch of hands for each figure. So that looks like we're about it for extras. I'm not seeing much else in this box, but let's open this up and show off what's inside and see what we think. Now, as I said before, this is a comic series that I absolutely love. It's really entertaining. It's tons of fun. Yeah, it's just cute, adorable, a blast. It's the best way of putting it. Every single issue so far has been entertaining, and yeah, basically I look forward to it every single month. It is seriously one of my favorite comics of any publisher right now. I'm seeing what this stamp is for. This is actually kind of neat. So let's take that out. Hands go flying all over the place. Too late. Now, one thing I do have to say about toys nowadays, it's way harder than what I remember getting them out of packaging from when I was a kid. Or maybe it's not, and I just am misremembering stuff. Alright, so let's look at each figure and see what I think generally of them. Alright, so we got Superboy here, Jonathan Kent. I think immediately the detail on this is top-notch. This is a great figure, but before we really get to the detail, let's discuss the motion of the figure. Alright, so we got the ankle basically able to pivot back and forth. Not the full 360 rotation we see every so often. The knee bends at two spots, upper and lower for each of them. The hip has full motion that we would expect for the figures. I do notice there's a bit of a gap on there, so I don't know if this is just this particular figure. But the hip does look like it's having some slight issues staying flush. Bending at the waist. We've got full bending of the waist with the upper torso. Not getting pivot to the side a whole lot, but it's mostly back and forth. And arms like the leg, we have upper arm. The elbow has full rotation, and then the hand pivots every which way, and the head as well. And yeah, so basically it's got the full rotation that I expect from a figure like that. Again, the one thing I am noticing is the hip is getting a little, I guess hip dysplasia would be a good way of describing it. It's popping kind of out of the joint and not staying in a whole lot. Now, if you basically pull, that's kind of the issue. Alright, so we're going to give it the stand test. I always like to do that. Figure does stand on its own. No issues whatsoever when it comes to that. I don't have to do any stupid weighting. Alright, Now let's discuss the detail of the figure. This figure, I think, is really, really well done as far as the detail. I don't know how well it's going to come up on the video, but the figure's shoes look like sneakers. We can see the laces. Say maybe the only thing I would change at all is the laces maybe having white laces instead of red. It kind of blends in. Feels like a little lazy painting, but then again, I don't really pay too much attention to his shoes in the comic. So he might actually wear red laces, and this is pretty accurate. As far as the shoes themselves, we don't see any tread on the bottom, which is okay. That's, you know, a detail we see other figures sometimes have. The shoe itself, though, still looks like Converse. Looks like something you would wear. Let's look at the jeans. The jeans pants look fairly realistic. I think it's well done for, you know, being a plastic toy. We got the ripped knee, which is a really great touch, and the ripped kind of upper thigh, which is a really nice touch. And then the other is there's actual a little bit of clumping up the pants, so you can see like lines and folds there, which is nice. The other thing is really great about the ripped is it is slightly 3D in a small amount. Like you can see, I don't know how well it comes out. It kind of pushes out like a normal rip actually would, and the knee actually is a slight layer to it, like the fold of what used to be there is kind of fallen under or fallen below. So I think that's really, really solid touch, and just, you know, that's the type of thing I'd expect for DC Collectibles, and they pull it off as usual. As far as the jacket, it definitely looks like his costume. It's got the zipper up the middle, which is great. Coloring is really solid. I'm not noticing any issues at all as far as the coloring. Nothing bleeds over where it shouldn't, so all that looks solid. As far as the cape's nice and rubber. It's not coming off. But it gives like a slight sense of motion, which is cool. The folds, I think, are really, really good on it. Yeah, and as far as the face, looks exactly like the comic book character. Right now, I think this is a really, really good figure. Only thing I'm noticing at all is the hip at all. Now this base is to give him the sense that he is flying. So let's see how well this actually works. It's oh. Well, that might explain why. There we go. Give him a little sense of he's flying. That's kind of cool. It's a goofy accessory, but kind of a neat accessory at the same time. You know, I'm sure if you do it right, you can do some pretty cool photos with it and some cool dioramas with it. Took me a little bit to figure out what it is, but thankfully the instructions within laid it out. Now let's look at Damien. Now Damien has grown on me as a character. I hated him when I first started reading him, but you know, he's much better than he used to be, and he's actually kind of grown as a character should. Alright, let's start with motion. Exactly what I expect with the ankles, swivel side to side. We're not looking up and down though. Knee, exact same joints that we saw with Jonathan. The hips are the same. It looks like he also kind of has that same hip dysplasia based off of the movement I just had there. Movement around the arms is similar. The cape does push things down a little bit. We got the hip has back and forth. We're not really getting much side to side though, and the head is full swivel. Arms are exactly what I expect, and wrists are as well. Details of the figure, I think the boots are absolutely fantastic. See how well they come up on here with the laces going up. The laces do stand out. There's also really swell detail on the boots itself. It's kind of hard to probably see in the video, but you can see slight patterns at the top. Underneath, you can also see the treading, which I think is really, really nice. We got his knee pads, which have some slight detail to it. Of course, the costume is absolutely fantastic. Completely nails it. We got his belt that is fused on, so it doesn't come off, and the kind of the tunic, or whatever you want to call it, costume, has some slight flow at the bottom. It's all rubber. Let's see what else. We get some slight detail going up the figure, some lines going on. Of course, we get some folds underneath as well. Really small details, but I think they add a lot. As far as the arms, the gauntlets look really good. As far as layered, it's not just a flat piece. It looks like there's actual layers to it. And of course, you've got, I don't even remember what those are called, but yeah, I don't remember what they're going to call. I'm not even going to make up a name for it. As far as the face, he looks like Damian Wayne to me. Like, the hair is really, really good. Face good. And the thing I actually like about it most is there's this slight smirk to it that I think is top-notch. As far as hands, we of course have his bow staff, which easily fits in one of the hands. We'll give him the stand test. Alright, this one we're having trouble sanding. Alright, looks like Damian is having some issues standing. So, I'm going to go with Damian does not pass the stand test. Fortunately, Damian needs some helps to stand, so. As far as extras, we got some throwing knives, some throwing stars to it in one hand. So we get that. Then we get the same battery, actually they're batarangs, they're not knives, you can actually see the detail really well here. Yeah, you can see the detail here. It's actually batarangs that he's holding in his hand, which is really cool. It's a small, subtle detail, and we can see that as well with this, that they're batarangs. Way better underneath, which is pretty damn cool. As far as other hands, as I said, we got the one with the bow staff that can be held in that hand, or the other hand. And that's about it, what we're looking for. Like, the hands for Jonathan are pretty standard. We have some open palms that you can make them look like he's flying a little bit more. Let's see if he holds the bow staff. That'll be one thing to test out. Yeah, well, not quite as well, but he can do it, which is pretty neat. Let's go with one test. Damian. See if we can have the bow staff go from one hand to the other. And he successfully does. We have success. So overall, I'm actually really happy with this. I think the figures are really top-notch. You know, a bummer that Damian can't stand on his own, but, you know, a lot of figures seem to have that problem, and I'm sure if I fussed around with it for quite a while, I probably could get him to stand up no problem. I think the Jonathan Kent, the details really top-notch. The tattered jeans, I think, is really cool. The fact that you get the base that can kind of make him fly is pretty neat to do. And yeah, I mean, this is a dual set that when I saw it in San Diego, absolutely wanted to get it. The fact that it's going to be out on shelves soon makes me super excited that everyone else is going to be able to get it. Love the series, love these characters, so to be able to have them as action figures that I can go play with and have on my shelf makes me super, super happy. I want to thank DC Collectibles for hooking us up with this. We're going to have links beneath this video where you can go and order your own. They'll probably be affiliate links, so we'll get a small percentage of that. But by purchasing through that, you help support our site. Now, if you're into Jonathan Kent, Damian Wayne, Super Sons, you should check us out every single day at graphicpolicy.com, where you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Tumblr, all at Graphic Policy, keeping it nice and consistent. Until next time, keep reading those comics and keep it geeky. Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.